Segment where we bring you the stories that made it to the front page of select newspapers this morning. We'll begin with the Daily Trust. Cost of living crisis. House of Reps wants actions to end hunger. It appears this is not going away soon. Asks FG to import grains, drugs, others. Lasting solution coming. Cardoso. I'm not sure if he's the person who should be giving this assurance.
Can he guarantee it?
Well, if he cannot guarantee the flow of foreign,
because he appears to be saying that foreign education, medical tourism, is putting a strain. Well, I partially agree. They also, foreign remittances. So how about that? Because I think
sometimes when they talk about these things, you think ordinary Nigerians are the ones who gov those sums. The budgetary provisions by ministries for foreign medical trips and that of the presidency is probably responsible for 50% of that sum.
Right.
Tame corruption, wasteful spending. This is coming from Northern Elders. Presidential Food Committee meets. I mean, if it's about opening the doors to the reserve, just do it already. Two other stories. Dad accused of defiling 8-month-old daughter reminded. You'll find that story on page 23. This is absurd. Excessive taxation on telcos, counterproductive. And this is coming from the NCC Caesar. Yesterday he was talking about how states, in a bid to raise revenue, come up with all kinds of right-of-way charges. You want to practically kill the existing companies on your domain, and you go in one full breath, you're talking about attracting foreign investment. How well have you treated the bride at home to attract, to make the home, attractive to the one you are trying to win over?
Exactly.
And then, of course, later today, it will be a showdown between the almighty Nigeria, the Super Eagles, of course, and the Bafana of South Africa.
Isn't an option. I guess it can be an outcome, but no pressure to the Super Eagles. We expect them to, make it all the way to the finals.
Scare yesterday
and bring home the gold.
We had some scare yesterday with Osimhen's reported abdominal
but just
pain.
Before the evening, I was really happy.
That's some good news. And yesterday, on the front covers, you'll find the commissioned helicopters. They look quite rugged, perhaps, fitting.
I hope they'll be put to good use.
That's the point, because we don't see the Tucanos anymore. I hope this would not disappear to wherever they
are
have
not cleared to use them domestically, I think, against
or we
bandits.
Don't have the personnel to deploy. We're not sure which one is it, or we are deploying, but there are no coverages around them. Whatever it is, more important to the average Nigerian is that we deploy these things and reduce the rising surge of insurgency. And to other stories, quickly, we have 17 Fed dead in attack on Benue communities. This is gradually expanding. We need to do something very quickly to nip this on the bud. Chakba, FG builds migrant center for Nigerians willing to return from Europe. What does that even mean?
I really have no idea. Are
Super
we expecting
Eagles,
people to return?
Is it to return to some kind of concentration camp? I'm not sure what that is intended to achieve. And government to build 6 new cancer centers. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And that's it on the front page of the Daily Trust.
The Punch newspaper is up next, so let's take a look at the front page of the Punch newspaper for today. Tinubu returns, orders emergency meeting on food crisis, and we expect there to be some sort of committee. Again, one of the traditional things, always setting up committees to react to some of these developments. So last year, July, the president announced a state of emergency on food security. Now it's a food crisis committee that would be...
Remember that only a couple of days ago, we also had the minimum wage committee.
Yeah. A country run by committees, rather inefficiently. In other news, Naira weakens at official market. Banks sell 584 $4 million. I mean, whether it's official or unofficial, I think the Naira is weakening regardless. It's not doing particularly very well. And there is no cheerful news if you're waiting for some sort of good news in that area. More on that on page 18 on the Punch newspaper for today. IOCs withhold fresh investment over 1.3 billion naira debt. Now, is this in connection to the whole forex volatility?
Yeah.
So if they can't repatriate, they're not going to invest.
Why do you have to bring in money? So, for over 14 months, some persons have applied to repatriate dividend, legitimate incomes made from their investments in Nigeria. They applied to get forex to repatriate then at the rate of 430 naira.
Right.
Whilst they are still waiting for government to, or rather for the authorities to respond, that official window grew to 700 and then to
and it has to reflect the current.
And then, yes, so if you were hoping after doing legitimate business to repatriate about $1 million naira, as at 14 months ago, that amount is very well less than $500,000. $1 million. So you've lost, just by the actions of government and devaluation, you have lost half of your money.
Let's put it this way: we're not improving investor confidence. We're not in any way doing that.
We are very big on the discussion around ease of doing business.
Yeah, but if they can't take their money back home, I mean, why would they bring it in, right? Because those funds will still be trapped for years. The big story on the front page of the Punch newspaper reads, Nigerians spent $98 billion on foreign trips, education in 10 years, according to the CBN governor. This is all part of the presentation he made at the House of Representatives. It's quite shocking that, we talk about capital flight and all of that. This is just unacceptable. 98 billion naira. The worst part for me is foreign trips.
Yeah.
The vacations are just one too many. I wonder how much of that is government sponsored though.
It's over 50% of it.
Right.
You can be very sure. I mean, we know we just came out of an hunger with 1,400.
There's a Dubai COP28 summit.
Yeah, sorry.
1,000.
Yes, 1,400. And the government was bold to say that on its official list it had nearly 500 persons. That if you were to send a Boeing 4747 to Dubai for that meeting, we would have sent 4 Boeing 747 for a participation we cannot, as we speak, point to
an action plan or quite agree. Here are some of the riders. CBN says it can't stabilize exchange rate alone, puts annual food imports at $15 billion. Senate summons Cardoso grills CBN governor Friday over forex crisis, economic challenges. I think the Punch is just trying to be interesting by saying grills, because there is no chance that they're going to be grilled. They would have some sort of back and forth, but it will be nothing close to grilling anybody.
The footages we saw felt like a friendly conversation.
It's friendly, but the situation is not friendly on the lives of Nigerians. You have the picture there of the unveiling of these new helicopters that will be put to action, and the Vice President there representing President Tinubu, who gave marching orders as federal government vows to end insecurity as Nigerian Air Force unveils attack helicopters. Customs sees 854 million naira vehicles, others in January, and killer kidnappers free slain Kwara monarch's wife. 13 suspects in custody. Dangote will list refinery fertilizer companies, according to the Nigeria Stock Exchange. That is it on the front page of the Punch newspaper today.
All right, we'll move on to the Vanguard. Protest over high prices, no food shortage in Nigeria, says federal government. Isn't this living in denial? Pleads with millers, major commodity traders to make available what's in their stores. President directs committee to take immediate action to arrest situation. Tinubu returns from private visit to France. To other stories, petrol queues emerge in Lagos and environs.
Not again.
That's not a good story.
Not again.
Stabilizing Naira, tax for all Nigerians. This is coming from Cardoso. And it's going to be a very tough game against Nigeria. It's coming from Tove. And it tells us that Osimhen is now fit to play. Police nab suspected Nigerian kingpin over Ekiti Kwara killings. What has happened in Ekiti, it's to say the least, very deplorable. I hope that
someone
is the last
is in his 80s and he's a kingpin.
It's I don't know what to make of it. You are practically at the departure lodge. You should be reconciling with your maker.
No, I mean, but he's probably been doing this for years.
Absolutely.
But you're still in your 80s and you're an active
continue.
kingpin?
No. Labour protests at NAFDAC over ban on alcoholic beverages and sachet. Edo Guba, respect zoning principle of Baseke or Shomele, told. So who is breaking the principle? I mean, the agreements, though. Insecurity. Tinubu orders security agencies to curb criminal activities. And so these are the kind of statements I find very difficult to understand. If the security agencies exist for this sole purpose, what does a fresh order do, really? Is it, do they need those promptings to swing to action? I mean, or is it just to create
the event is ceremonial, so they have to say something.
Or a sense of motion without movement in the psyche of Nigerians? Our in-house analyst, who has got several years in defense reporting, would probably give us an idea. I can assure you that he's in the studio, and nobody is missing today. Kogi tackles EFCC over 60 or 80 billion fraud charges against ex-Governor Bello. I mean, if they're telling you that your money is missing and they can bring it back, why do you want to kick against that conversation? Well,
I think that relationship is frosty at best between the EFCC and the former Kogi State Governor.
Interesting. And that's it on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Like I said, nobody is missing today. Nobody intends to go missing.
You mean the whole team is
yes,
here?
Whoever was here.
Someone was missing last week.
Someone went on an errand.
Right.
And rightly so, we are back in the studio. We have joining us this morning, former Director of News, Voice of Nigeria, Mr. Ben Sherman. It's a pleasure to have you join us. I was almost going to share the same color of clothing with you.
Yes, and let me also welcome you. For 2 weeks, you are now quick at telling people nobody is absent today.
I was only taking in the footsteps of your president. I went for a private visit.
Oh,
Abdullahi knows about that.
No,
I thought every Nigerian should be entitled to it.
And usually when you throw the hat in the ring,
you were declared wanted last week.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Ben Sherman. Thank you very much for stopping by.
Morning, the team.
The papers this morning, it's protest over food crisis, high food prices by the Vanguard in the Daily Trust. It's about the House of Rep, diving into that conversation and asking the federal government to import grains and drugs, because these are basically the parts that hurts the most. Basic malaria drugs you used to pay 8,400 naira for today goes for about 11,000. I bought a cough syrup for about 15,000. I was shocked to my marrows, but I had to do it. I needed to save the life of my son. What do you make of these pockets of protests that are beginning to erupt across our cities? And with governors telling us that the cost of food in Nigeria is the cheapest across the West African sub-region, and that these protests indeed are sponsored by the opposition?
I think that too many things are wrong. Now we are saying pockets of protests. You add the population of Kano, you still call it protests and pockets. You compare that population with the Niger Delta population. You see that it's not pockets. You look at Niger State, I think the largest state so far, the biggest in the country, that stand to be corrected. Now, for a governor to wake up to say we have the cheapest when it comes to West Africa, should we be comparing ourselves with West African countries. Or we should look at some countries that have stabilized in terms of food supply. Look at the population of China and they are not hungry. What are they doing differently that we can't do? Is it the landmass? We have, you know. And you see, when we're talking of real farming, we ought to have been seeing by now what you call dry season farming. I stand to be corrected. Kano appears to be doing very well when it comes to all year farming. Now, why are we not? This incessant and continuous flow of water from River Benue, why are we not harvesting it for a season like this? And we ought to see, there used to be Federal Phosphate, the fertilizer company in Kaduna. That thing is dead. Jonathan tried to wake it up. Money was sunk into that. Where is that? Nobody's pursuing it. Nothing. You know, many states were kind of competing as to having what you call fertilizer blending companies, all to ensure that there is food security. What has happened today? You know, now when government, we're talking of February and there is this hunger, when harvesting period was just October, November, December, we are already very, very hungry. It says quite a lot when it comes to fighting hunger. And therefore, when you now say release excess funds into the market, we've not reached almighty July, August, because they are always the troublesome months.
Yesterday,
we want to release excess grains right now.
Right.
It's
yesterday,
problem.
The people running the show, as far as the economy is concerned, the finance and the finance and economy minister, was there. Wale Edun was there. The central bank governor was there. Even the revenue chief of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, the chairman, Zach Adidiji, was also there. The Minister for Budget and National Planning was at the House of Representatives. I don't know whether you got a chance to read some of their thoughts, but were you convinced, were you inspired by their reassurances that, listen, it will all be over soon and all this pain will be worth it at the end of the day?
You see, my brother, this issue of government of the future, it will be all over very soon. Where are the indicators? Where are they? Is it that suddenly manners will come in from heaven? Long ago, we used to hear of manners, but today, I doubt if this manna would just from nowhere. We see bags of rice, sacks of rice, Indomie, palm oil, everything available in the market. What are the steps we've taken to ensure that we have all of this? Now, if they are saying open the borders, yeah, you can open the borders because, see, I think we should. When it comes to food, just food, we should. So that we can stem a tide. We are seeing a kind of a revolution that people are just thinking there are pockets of protest here and there. No, Mr. President, you are doing well. If you look at the governors who indeed came up to say, look, Nigeria is not a hungry nation. There is no food scarcity. When the World Bank, World Food Organization, all of them, they've said that there is hunger in Nigeria, not just Nigeria, many African countries. But we are here living in denial. When, see, try go to the market. As soon as you go buy, usually they sell in yams, 555, kind of. Just buy 5. Somebody, a mother will come with a baby, running nose. You see them so emaciated. Can we have just one? You know, that kind of a thing. You buy rice, you buy this. Some people are saying, can we just have, whether it's just one carnation or milk kind of, just major 1 and 2. So when we say there is no hunger, see, stay somewhere and look at the dustbins. How many people, are people not picking from dustbins? They are. If you want footages, I give you. And so we should not just be saying that there is no hunger. There is hunger. We should not live in this denial. What steps should be taken? They are very, very critical.
What are your expectations? What are your expectations regarding what will happen today? Because we understand the president is trying to take the proverbial bull by the horn by setting up this committee that would hopefully work on flooding the markets with grains, which will hopefully, I think by design, crash the price of grain so that at least Nigerians can afford it with the little money they have in their pockets.
You see, I am an optimist. I am an optimist, very incurable. But sometimes when it looks like there is this big problem, like they say in Nigeria, if you want to hide a problem, organize a conference. You get the solution, then everybody goes home. Collect night allowances. Okay, here you are. The president is going to meet with key officers, and we expect that solution will just come immediately. I still see that it could come, but for the future. But how far will that future be is the issue. If it is necessary, just release these grants. But unfortunately, again, the borders with Niger is closed. We only have that of Benin. So and Benin already has opened its own with Niger. And so, which follows that even when ECOWAS is saying we're going to hold on to some sanctions, okay, open via Benin. Of course, Niger will also get via.
These are all part of some of the calls that the lawmakers were making. I think the protests in Kano, some people were saying open the borders, let's import, let's do things like that, even if it's just for the short term to survive and weather this storm. Do you expect the government to react to some of these calls in a positive way?
A sensitive and that is a government that is sensitive and proactive should also listen to those who brought them to power. There's this social contract campaign. We saw that you have the credentials. We voted you in. What do you give me? You give me food security. So if the people are saying, look, the measures you put in place are injurious to us, and we took you there. So the same people are saying, open the borders. So you open them. And when it's you can open just for food. Forget about vehicles. Let's have just for food. And if you're talking of we can import, how do you import from Niger when they are looking for this same thing from Nigeria? So you probably are going to get it from abroad. It does not matter whether it's from Ukraine or from Russia or China or America. Bring these things so that, Bob Marley said it all. You know what happens to a hungry man? Very angry, and his reactions can have some repercussions. So we should not just be blaming opposition. The governors, all of them, check the governor of Kwara State. He came from a very wealthy family. In Kwara State, who, apart from the Sarakis, tell me the family that challenged the governor's family in terms of wealth or having it. The meaning of capitalism is living in Nigeria. It's only found in Nigeria, where the richest will just always be denying that the masses are not suffering. How many really? Just enter a taxi, wear a face cap. Even though I will not expose him. I saw one of these governors in a face cap, in a small vehicle, driving himself. I was shocked. Truly, I did. I was shocked, But can he do that it was in Abuja here. Can you do that in your state? Take a drive, 7 p.m., drive around. Get stuck in a traffic jam so that you see the pulse, the pulse of the people. You see people who are not just laughing. They are not. And so if you want to test your popularity, try it, let's see. Why are you moving with security men all over the place, siren all over the place? In the midst of hungry people, you want to show power. Everybody must clear away. An important fellow is coming. And when you are not giving us security, you are not giving us food, the farmlands are battlegrounds. What are we? See, what does it take? Can Nigeria sit with the herders? Can Nigeria sit with the farmers? Let us not. See, farmers have been driven away from their farmlands in the villages, and they are coming to form clusters of criminal hideouts within cities. And here again, see, almost every 3 months, FCT has what they call crushing of motorcycles here in Area 1. You gather them in their hundreds. You now bring caterpillar to roll on them, crush them. I don't know if that's the best way to resolve poverty or fight hunger. I think it's really not the best. Something has to be done. Even the people are also too stubborn too. When they say don't, you feel you must. Therefore, it's like there is no option left for them.
All right. Listening to you, one of the things I picked out was that it is time for the government to start listening to those who brought them to power. voice populi, voice dei. Is that word. Moving on to other developments, 17 fed dead in attacks on Benue communities. These problems seem to be
unending
as it is.
Mathematicians will say, statisticians will say, recurrent decimal. They're always happening, as if there is no solution. If the thief and the Fulani man were a kind of jolly good fellows, each time they met those days, everyone would want to outsmart the other with some jokes, and you could see some friendship kind of a thing. Today, they are on each other's jugular vein. Why should it be? And it still boils down to what you call the food insecurity. If Benue State prizes itself or tax itself as the food basket of the nation, and if you go to Zakibiam areas and you see heaps and heaps of yams as high as, in fact, you are from Benue, you know better. You know, these things are no longer there. Why? Because of this kind of insecurity. Why should we be known when it comes to indices against hunger, indices when you're talking of insecurity, indices when it comes to female genital mutilation, indices, terrorism? They'll just say Nigeria is there. Why? What is happening? In the midst of where everyone claims to be so religious. But is there spirituality in what we're doing? Is there that love for neighbor when it comes to Benue? I think that there has to be a solution to this. We cannot just be talking of 17 feared dead. In fact, not just feared, they're already dead. You know, this just to put it mildly. Tell me the page of any newspaper today that you don't see something terrible happening. Just look at Daily Trust today. You count, everything is bad. Move to any other paper, everything. But also, when are we going to have it nice?
But also, you see in there, the front page, this unveiling of the attack helicopter by the Nigerian Air Force. Does that inspire confidence that there is some sort of response that is commensurate to the rise in insecurity in different parts of the country? This armament of the armed forces, for instance, is something that we've been calling for quite some time.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's a good thing that we've seen some more attack helicopters being a kind of a commission to go into the theater of operation. You see, we used to have this Super Tucano that
Do we not have them anymore?
Yeah, we have them, but you see, they also have some limit as to where to operate, it appears, by way of agreement. And it took only Donald Trump to break what they call Leahy law. Leahy law says, look, when a nation is fighting a war against its citizens, America should not sell arms to that country. So they felt that Boko Haram is a Nigerian matter, and that was why it was blocked. It was Donald Trump who stubbornly, through President Buhari, made sure that Nigeria got these Super Tucanos. But again, they said solely northeast. Now, the epicenter is now moving to central Nigeria. So we expect that these ones that have come, they will not be
Why would I pay you food value?
Sorry?
For an equipment. Why should I walk into a restaurant, pay for a dish on the menu, and then get a manual on how to eat that food?
Well, you see, just like some people will say, Donald Trump actually even committed what you call an impeachable offense. By breaking this law, it's a senator that brought the law, and they decided to tag the law to bear that man's name. And they've always been following it religiously. But when Donald Trump came, you know, this gra-gra nature of his, he just felt that, look, Nigeria needed this thing. So if Nigeria could get it right, every other thing in Africa will be right. So I think for Donald, yes, I vote for him. But for the analogy you are bringing, well, It all depends whether you go to Sheraton and begin to.
I think
to
the
use your-
sanction, the consequence as a result of that is if you violate it, we're no longer going to sell you weapons in the near
I'm just
future.
wondering that
Right.
we probably would have had a safe clause that says once we are done with the insurgency in that place and the helicopters are still in good
Then
condition, we can return them to you and get some dollars
But I think
or apply to use them in other places. This is
But you see, a nation's strength too, from the military and the economy, then political stability. You know, a nation is stable.
Right, okay.
You know, but again, when we have these helicopters on ground, I remember General, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Chris Musa, telling soldiers, look, equipment do not fight the war.
Right. Okay.
Personnel do.
Okay. Yeah.
And again, yes, quickly, Abdullah, personnel do. And at a point, he drew a caution, commanding officers, please ensure that there is no fatigue when it comes to your personnel. Some people will go on break. You always identify some people who will always never go on break as if it is punishment. At that point, you begin to have a lull. It begins to go down. And when you have military intervening in low-intensity conflict like this, it's supposed to be for a short period. Now it has become how many years now?
I wish we have the time to continue to take this intervention. When you delve into the military realm, then you would have ignited something in Ben Shaman that never ceases. I want to thank you very much for finding time to come to the studio. I hope the right authorities are listening and that they can get some counsel, even for people like you who have reported that sector for the better part of your life.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, viewers at home. I'm afraid this is where we will have to anchor the conversation for today. We'll be back tomorrow to bring you more interesting conversation on the state of the economy. I'm Sunday Michael Ogu. Let's do this again.
My name is Abdullah Ahmed. Thank you very much for your time and company. 360 Sports is coming up next at the top of the hour. Good morning.